Look, I'm a genetically very skinny person. This is what I've done to build muscle, and naturally as well. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can do this, build muscle as fast as possible in minimal time, because as a business owner, you don't have the time to be spending 6-7 days in the gym and then spending even more hours doing pointless research, finding conflicting things and wasting time trying things that don't even work. So I'm going to break it down and give you the most effective things that work for me and for the clients that I've been training as well. So I'm going to cover 5 things in order of most important to least important. So think of it like a pyramid, and the more of these you tick off, the higher likelihood and the faster you will build muscle. So the first thing and the most important thing I would say is to become in a caloric surplus or muscle building phase. Why is that? That's because building muscle actually requires energy, and a calorie is basically energy. You get that from food. And being in a caloric surplus or taking in more energy than your body consumes basically make sure you have enough energy to train and also recover from those sessions and build the muscle that you require. Because if you're training really intense and you don't have enough calories, you might enter a catabolic state, which basically means your body starts breaking down muscle tissue for energy. That's why people overtrain and they don't eat enough food. They end up causing more harm than good. How do we calculate the calories that we need? Very simple. You're going to go on your phone and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it as well. So first thing you're going to do is type in calorie calculator, and you're going to click that top one, caloriecalculator.net, and on this you're going to input your details. So I'm going to do mine, 25, 6'3", weight, I don't know my weight in, wait, let me change this. So you're going to go on the website, you're going to start inputting your details, 6'5", weight 65. And how many times you train a week as well. So for example, right now I'm training 4 to 5 times a week, intense. And then if you press settings, you can make sure it's in calories, and Mifflin saying JEOR, just important, make sure that's ticked. And then press calculate. And then from here, there's a little button at the bottom saying show info for weight gain. I'm going to click that, and then you'll be able to see here mild weight gain, and fast weight gain. I would recommend either mild weight gain or just normal weight gain, because that will make sure you're not adding too much fat onto your body as you're gaining a bulk, because I'm not a fan of dirty bulking whatsoever. So that's how you calculate your calories. Number 2, the second most important thing is progressive overload in the gym. So progressive overload is basically increasing the stress that you put on your muscles each week when you go to train. Now this constant challenge forces your muscles to basically adapt and grow. It's like, you know, when you see those blacksmiths beat like a sword and get it into shape, they don't just tap it, they have to keep doing it, keep hitting it, and that's when it starts to become sharp. In the same way, your body and muscle will only adapt to tension and stress. So if you're training like a bit of a pussy, then you won't get the gains that you're after. You need to train hard and make sure you're doing it in a smart way and combine it with a surplus too. This is why a lot of you also reach a plateau, because you're not progressing, you're not finding ways to progress. If you're stuck on something, you don't know what next step to take. And I was in that stage as well, and it's not a good place to be in because you end up wasting months. Now, with that aside, how do we actually progressive overload? It's very simple. So every single week, you want to increase the challenges of your exercise, and mainly the compound lifts as well. So they're your multi-joint, heavy movement exercise like your squats, bench press, pull-ups, dips, all that kind of stuff. Now there's a couple of things you can do. You can either increase the reps. So for example, go from 10 to 11 to 12 throughout the weeks. You can increase the sets. So you might do 2 sets in your first week, then do 3 sets, for example, and move your way up. You can adjust your tempo. So you can go faster and then slower. So you have more tension on the muscle, which creates more DOMs, which is delayed onset muscle soreness as well. And you can also decrease things. For example, you can decrease the rest time. So you can go from, for example, 3 minutes to 2 minutes, forcing yourself to recover faster between each set. And the best thing I would do is, because there's so many, just pick one method and apply it across the board to all your routines, because then that way you can simplify your progress. And what I'll do is always make sure you're tracking these on either on notes, or if you've got an app that you use, make sure you're seeing what you did last week, so you've got a target and a goal to work towards week in, week out. Just keep it simple in my opinion. So point 3 is having enough protein intake. That's because protein is basically essential for muscle repair and growth. When we train, like I mentioned, we're putting our body under that much stress, our muscle fibers are actually becoming damaged, they actually tear, and even though we get the calories for the energy, the protein is the thing that actually repairs that muscle that's damaged and helps it grow bigger and stronger. Because protein has the things called amino acids, which build your muscle fibers. And if you don't have enough of that protein coming into your body doesn't have enough to synthesize new muscle tissue. Think of it like the concrete that you need to make a building or something. There's not enough of the actual substance. No matter how much you try to build upon it, it just won't be able to work. It will just collapse. So make sure you really prioritize the protein intake that you're having. How do we do that? Very simple. Get your body weight in kilograms, and I want you to times it by 2. Now that's the number you want to aim for every single day. especially your training days. And what I would recommend to keep it simple is then divide that number by 3, and then there you've got a smaller number which you want to be aiming for with your breakfast, lunch and dinner. So for example, breakfast you can have your egg meal, lunch you can have some sort of chicken meal, and then evening you can have fish or beef, and then between them you can have some snacks like a protein shake or something. But that way you've got a bit of a plan of action that you can use and repeat on a daily basis, which is the most important thing, because you want to systemize the training so it doesn't become effort. Now, point 4 is to increase the training frequency of each muscle group per week. And normally we're used to all those bro splits, people going in doing chest one day, back one day, legs one day. However, training each muscle group more frequently can lead to improved muscle growth compared to just once per week. That's because more frequent training increases the stimulus for growth, because you've got extra volume throughout the week and distributed within a way where you get enough rest in between, and that helps you grow your muscle faster. So even though you may feel like you're doing more damage in one big chest session, splitting those sets up into increased frequency can improve the volume that you use, basically eliminating junk volume. So here's a couple of studies that touch on this topic as well. One by McLester, Bishop and Gilliams, comparison of 1 day and 3 days per week of equal volume resistance training in experienced subjects. Distributing the same training volume over more frequent sessions can lead to better muscle adaptations. Another one from Schoenfield, who is very big in the game. Higher training frequencies can result in greater muscle growth, likely due to increased training volume and more frequent stimulation of muscle protein synthesis. And this is really good news for us business owners and entrepreneurs, because it means that we don't need to be in the gym 6 days a week, even going 3 times, but splitting that volume training frequency into smaller chunks is actually better for muscle growth anyway. So it's literally a win-win-win situation. Now, how do we do that? I would recommend 2 training splits. The first is a 3-day full body routine, which you can do on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, or any way, and I would recommend trying to have 1 day in between at least. And another one is a 4-day upper lower split. So for example, Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, then train Thursday, Friday. Now if you're not sure how to train or what training plans to follow, I've got a free minimalist training guide, and I'll link that in the description for you or the top comment, so you make sure you check that out. It's completely free as well. That leads to point number 5, which I'm pretty sure all of you want to ignore, but is the most vital, is proper recovery and sleep. Muscle growth actually doesn't occur during your training sessions. You might think that that's where your muscles are growing, but you are wrong. Muscle growth occurs during recovery. It's when you are rested, it's when you give your body the fuel from the food, and the sleep, that's when your muscle actually undergoes the process of protein synthesis and builds. So training 7 days a week does not mean you're going to make progress in the gym if you do not give yourself enough rest. I've noticed this a couple of times. For some reason, let's just say I have a shoulder niggle, so I'm forced to take a bit more extra time off the gym. I realise when I come back into training, I look fuller, I feel fuller. Ramadan was a perfect example. Because I wasn't able to train at max capacity, at the deload, I wasn't training that hard. I was making sure I was just getting in the gym and moving. The first week back, when I came, I felt recovered, and that session I remember I was in my best physique I probably was in a long time, because I gave myself enough rest and my body had enough time to build and repair the damage that I've done over time. So that proper sleep and recovery allows your body to build muscle and build that tissue, which is so important. And lack of sleep and training can lead to overtraining, increase your risk of injury, and the worst of all is hinder your muscle growth, which is the last thing that any of us actually want. Not only that, sleep plays a massive role in regulating very, very vital hormones in muscle growth, for example, human growth hormone and testosterone as well. This is probably why I'm seeing a lot of feminine guys who cannot have the discipline and build discipline to get into the gym. 9 out of 10 people come up with excuses rather than solutions, right? Just keep that in mind. If I speak to someone about the gym who's in a full-time job, first thing they tell me is they don't have time. Instead of saying, I don't have time, why don't they ask themselves, how can I make the time? How do we actually maintain good sleep and good recovery? I'm going to give you a very simple protocol, the one that I follow as well. First is simply sleep between 10 and 11 PM and wake up between 5 and 7 AM. Simple. If you follow that, you're going to get a decent amount of sleep. And 99% of businesses and jobs will allow some sort of routine close to that. Now, I understand some businesses might require calls that you have to do later into the night and come and doing this and that, but that is not a regular thing. So if your business requires it, then yes, you may have to do it every now and then, but don't be on your phone texting or playing video games and watching movies late into the night, because that's just you making an excuse for your actions, which is not what we're talking about on this channel. Okay, next thing is to eat 3 hours before bed. Personal preference, this allows my body enough time to digest the food. Sometimes when I have a massive meal before bed, I feel more awake and I can't shut off as fast as I'd like to. And next is to keep your bedroom cool. The best way to actually fall asleep is by reducing body temperature by like 1 to 2 degrees. So if you keep your window open or you have a warm shower before bed, the 2 really good ways of of countering and dropping that body temperature, because when you have a warm shower, your body wants to counter that by cooling your body temperature down, which is really good for helping you fall asleep. And another one is a sick investment, is actually buying an eye mask or having like blackout curtains. But since blackout curtains are quite difficult to obtain for most people, just get an eye mask, and trust me, it will help you sleep so much better.